Hi, what's up, Chalkers? Welcome to the Let's Chalk About It podcast. If you're new to fitness or just want to hang with some like-minded fitness folk, then this is the place for you. Remember, it's always good to chalk about it.
Let's test it this time. Is that better? Good. Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I am joined by the one-man traffic jam that is Scott Carson. And the brain to my empty skull that is Christopher McKenzie. And this week we are joined by the special guest of Will Roberts, all the way from South Dakota. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Awesome, mate.
Yeah, all good, all good. What time are we at your place?
Just a little past 11 a.m.
Oh, on a Friday. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
I mean, I feel cheeky still having an intro that says that we're a fitness podcast when only 50% of us actually can kind of go to a gym or work out.
Yeah, we're just sort of saying the difference between like what Will's going through in terms of the current situation and what we do. I mean, we're like, can't go anywhere, can't do a single thing. We can go out for essentials or our daily walk, or daily exercise, and Will's life hasn't really changed much. So that's like, he's pretty lucky over there.
Yeah. Very much so. We pretty much aren't doing anything with the lockdown. I can go to the gym freely. Just sanitize your hands, wipe down the equipment before and after you use it, and that's about it.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it's not like that for us over here. It's literally everything is locked down. The only thing that are open are, ironically, fast food places and wherever you go to work. That's pretty much it, unless it's retail.
Yeah, all the healthy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All the healthy stuff. You know, keep everyone going and make sure they can get their McDonald's and their KFC.
Yeah, we're really unique in this state. We're one of the few who isn't doing much with the lockdown. There are other states you probably hear about on the news. I don't know how much you guys follow America at all, but there's some states where it's very strict, like California. You know, all their gyms, restaurants, everything's closed down. Sounds very familiar with what you all are going through.
Wow. Yeah, I've definitely seen it very different in a lot of different states. I've caught up with it a tiny bit, but I can't watch, I haven't got like infinite time to watch loads, but I totally know what you mean. It's just like very different across the different states there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the problem with us is we're getting sort of different variants that seem to be keep stretching the lockdown out as well. So there's a new variant that's going around that's highly more infectious than the one that we had before. So it seems like there's no end to when lockdown might actually happen.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so
It's fine.
Sorry, go on.
As long as we get our 1 hour of yard time a day, we'll have to go out and walk but not talk to anyone. We're just all actual prisoners, like convicts. That's what we are.
An orange boiler suit, Scott. Well, you've probably still got one, right?
Oh, yeah, only a few.
So, Will, you were in contact with us actually almost when we first started the podcast, and you sent us a message over about your story, which was very interesting. Are you happy to get into that?
Yeah, I can do that. Want me just to jump right in?
Yeah. Well, wherever you're happy or whatever you're happy to talk about. I think our listeners will be, be something they're very interested in, and how you sort of turned your life around a little bit with getting into fitness.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to ramble too long. So if I do this here and cut me off.
Just talk freely, mate. Honestly, just relax.
Yeah. There's no time, mate.
Talk freely.
Talk as you want to.
There's no time limits.
All right. Well, I guess back in 2017 in January is kind of where I really had a big catalyst in my life, a major change. So, little background story. I work on the railroad. I'm a conductor, so I ride freight trains. I go across state to state. We carry different cargo. Anyways, that's not the important part. But what happened in January of 17, I was involved in an accident at work where our train actually struck and killed two employees that we work with who they're maintenance employees. They work on the track. It was a very traumatic deal for me. I mean, I took it very hard. Going through that whole I'd never been in a car wreck before that. So then having to get in that sort of an accident, get off our locomotive, go back, several cars and find dead bodies of people that only one of which I recognized. It was tough.
Wow.
You can put a face to somebody, and then you feel that guilt and that responsibility. And it was very, very tough on me. So what kind of happened from there, I always kind of had a problem with alcohol. Got a family history of it. I started drinking heavy to try to, cope with that. I mean, it's trying to mask it, which for anybody listening, if you ever go through something traumatic, the last thing you should do is turn to the bottle, because what it did is my brain kind of rewired itself. And it went from being this tool to have fun to this tool that I had to have just to function, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it just kept spiraling out of control. And I look at it almost like a stock graph. It just kept going up and up and up. And I couldn't come down. I'd try to quit for, a week would be an accomplishment at that point in time. And I'd go right back. But when I went back, I was at the same level where I left off, and I try everything from having a single drink and then, calling it a night. For me, if I have one, I have 20. And I was a very heavy drinker. So where I'm going with all that is my health over the next 2 years really spiraled down. I mean, I really went to hell, in the best way to put it. Was drinking myself to death. I mean, there's no way around it. And I read this book. I mean, I knew I was in need of a change. And I actually come across this guy on a podcast. His name is called David Goggins. And I know some of you are familiar with who he is. And I read his book. It's called Can't Hurt Me, and did the podcast, or not the podcast, the audiobook as well. He kind of calls it a podcast because they do some dialogue in the middle. But I went through that book, and it kind of really spoke to me. I mean, just the whole message he had through it. And that was in like December of 19. And it kind of started motivating me to start looking towards sobriety, something I'd never considered in my life because, all my friends drink, all my coworkers drink. I work in a very blue collar environment. So you get off your train, if they're in the road, you stay in a hotel. I mean, I'm gone from home all the time. And well, when you're away with the guys, what do? You usually go get drinks, And so it was, I guess, reading that book and then knowing I need to make a change. We had a gym at the hotel we always stay at. So I started finding my time in there, started lifting weights, started doing more and more in there. And I'd always kind of done a little bit of that in the past, but I didn't take it real serious. Well, within that book, David Goggins does a lot of running. Anybody who knows him, he's done ultra marathons and Ironmans and all that stuff. And I couldn't run a mile. I couldn't run half a mile. Never have. I've never been an athletic type, and especially track field running my entire life. So I guess I kind of approached it at what was something I really sucked at and wanted to get better at, I could really dive in with, and it was running. I mean, I still remember my first run. I went right out that door here, put on my headphones. I just listened to a chapter on that audio book and said, I'm going to go, I'm going to get out there and do it. And I made it quarter of a mile, if that, maybe a quarter mile. And I just gassed out, just felt defeated, wobbled myself home and licking my wounds. But it was weird that day. Something kind of clicked, and I knew I wanted to keep at that change, and I wanted to stick with that. So I just kept doing it over and over and over again. Fast forward, I've done a marathon. I just did that back in October, finished in just over 4.5 hours, which is a fairly okay time. I've done tons of half marathons. Last year I ran a total of 1,008 miles, and I made all that change just by, I was able to cut out alcohol. I guess that's the biggest point of that whole story, through fitness. Something I never considered. Everybody thinks of fitness as like a vanity tool, or I don't know, just some way to go release energy, whatever it might be. It's really good for mental stuff. I mean, it really is, especially with running. It's 90% mental, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what part of the running and you sort of, change into more of having some fitness goals and having that great part on your day when you could go and do your runs, what part of that was it that led you sort of maybe away from the bad habits you were getting into?
Well, they don't mix. If you want to go out there and run, if you were drinking the night before, it isn't going to jazz real well. You're going to be super dehydrated, and that was one thing I knew right away. They wouldn't mix well together. And then I found as I would run more and more, my mental toughness would get stronger. I mean,
wow,
it's kind of embarrassing, but I was extremely mentally weak at that point in time, and there's no way around that. It's just the fact of the matter. And through running, it taught me a lot of mental toughness, how to deal with things and be in that moment. And like when you'd have alcohol cravings, I'd be able to attack those head on. And through mental strength, I didn't use like an AA program or anything like that. I just did it by running, as strange as that sounds.
So you've used a ton of real action, and I've got nothing against people that want to use therapy and talking about things and getting things out in the open and having the conversations and open discussion, etc. But what seems like you've done is you've kind of thought, I need some real action here, and you've put something like all that running into a really great place, and then you've said it's built your mental toughness. So that's like really, really great. Do you think people could take a lot from that instead of just having the conversations over and over?
Yeah, exactly. I had to learn to kind of be my own hero. No one's going to come save me. You've heard David Goggins say that, and that really struck a tone with me. It's like, yeah, no one is going to do this for me. It sucks. Every day sucks, especially that beginning point. But just knowing that I had the mental strength to get through it, and just anytime I had those type of cravings, whatever, I just go hit the road and go for a run or go to the treadmill, whatever I need to do. Just stuck at that over and over and over again, and eventually it just clicked.
Wow. Well, you said your last habits were because you kind of rewired your brain in the wrong way, and then you were kind of like, you've re-engineered yourself to love the running and go out for this. So that's like literally fantastic to hear. So like, thanks for sharing that. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what was the response like from your co-workers and the people around you at the time? Because you said like it's kind of like your maybe your town's sort of culture. You said it's like blue collar, so like everyone just rough and ready, wants to go out for a beer, etc. How do you think? What was the support like at the time for you?
Almost non-existent.
Wow.
And it's tough because I had my immediate family who supported me, but I've lost a lot of friends. You realize they're just drinking buddies. Maybe they're not such good friends. As time goes on. People at work, you'd always be invited out to, go get dinner and, have cocktails and stuff, but they know that you don't drink now. So they just don't invite you at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough. And I always suspected that might be part of it, of why I didn't want to get sober. Is this that?
But you didn't think it'd be that bad?
No, I wasn't expecting it to be quite as bad as it was. But honestly, it's a gift because you realize who you want to have in your life, who you don't. And now I have a really strong support group of people. The true friends have come forward, and they've stuck around through everything. It's just this large group has whittled down. Yeah, you were friends with people that had that superficial gain with you. Oh, cool, we've got a drinking buddy, we can have another laugh, someone else to share problems with, whatever you do when you go out drinking with your mates. But you've kind of eliminated that, and you've just got people that are there for you and just the main parts of you. Yeah. With and the better bit of you, which is not someone that goes out drinking, someone that's really focused and someone that's totally changed things around and become mentally much stronger. So that's epic to hear. Yeah. I think a lot of the challenge, though, it's not that they're necessarily bad people, but I think a lot of people, when they're in the grip of addiction, they look at you and they see you making changes, and it's almost threatening to themselves. And like I said, the environment I live in, it's a lot of oil, a lot of coal. So a lot of my friends work in the coal mines, oil fields, very industrial. So very, traditional. Yeah, exactly. We're going to go, as you guys would go to a pub, or here we're going to go to the bar and we're going to go get beers after work. And that's just who you are. My dad did that. I did that. And so when you break that path, it's people look at you weird for a while,
You think they have the kind of thought that you feel like you're better than they are?
Yeah, and which is so tough, and just to be clear, even to anyone listening and you guys as well, but I'm not anti-alcohol at all. 90% of the people in this world can handle alcohol just fine. It's a great social tool. I mean, I love alcohol. I just love it too much. But the thing is, I'm just anti-alcohol for myself, That's all. It's just, it didn't work with my life. And I don't want to push that on anyone else. I don't want to tell people sobriety is what you got to do, because that's not the case. It's just, if you have a problem and I really gloss over, but I was closet drinking, blacking out every day. It was bad, but that's not the point of the story. But yeah, if you're in that situation, you probably need a break or maybe to look at it again.
So on a typical day when you were sort of, without wanting to pick at the bones a little bit, when you were at your worst, what would a normal day look like for you alcohol-wise?
Well, I always managed to stay sober for work. So, that was important to me. A lot of that came from being in that accident. I didn't want to be in a situation where I had any alcohol in my system if I was, in another situation like that. So I'd stay sober, and I work on call 24/7. So it's kind of challenging. And that's where it really started getting to be gray and dark. But so I'd get called to work. I take my train from one state to the other. I get to the other end of the road, as we call it, go to the hotel, and I'd immediately start drinking. And I had it down to a science of I can have X amount of drinks before I will get called to go back to work again. I should be sober. I went as far as I bought a little breathalyzer, a little portable one, so I could know exactly my limit. I could have about 5-6 drinks is what I found out, because we have about 10 hours of rest time before they can call us to go back home. And that's about what I could get away with. And I could make sure I was blowing zeros by the time I was going to work.
Wow. So you had some real ways to sort of manipulate your day and your job, definitely.
Everything I did revolved around it. And that's where it got out of control, is when you start realizing any functions that I went to, it was always in the background, and I'd hide it, and I assumed nobody knew. And then as time has gone on, you talk to family, they all knew, I was sneaking booze, and it's just embarrassing, really.
Well, thanks for being so open about it. It literally is amazing to hear. And someone that can be so open, it just shows how important that journey was for you. So it's just amazing to hear about it. So I'm like really fascinated. It's like really awesome to hear someone talk so candidly about it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people kind of are curious if they don't know anyone who has been in alcohol, or other people are afraid to talk about it. I think it helps. My story may help other people. And that's kind of why I thought talking to you guys would be all right,
Yeah. What would be your maybe your message for someone that's in that point where you just described? So you think you've got it all under control, which is probably a big part of addiction. I'm by no means an expert in addiction, but that point when you said you thought you had it covered, everything revolved around drinking. What would you maybe try and say if you know someone, or if you know someone that is doing that?
Well, I would pretty much say, again, it's a very individual journey for every person. And the best way to say it is, the only way you're ever going to make a change or get sober, if you have that desire, is you got to make that change for yourself. You can't change for someone else. Like if you quit drinking because of your spouse, like your spouse doesn't like it, she wants you to quit drinking. The second you guys get into a fight, you're going to start drinking again. It's got to be for yourself. And that's, I guess, when I hit my rock bottom, or there's a lot of different terms for it, but I was sick of myself. I was just tired of being me. I wasn't happy with the man I was looking at in the mirror anymore. I was ashamed, and that was this total failure of everything. My wife was pregnant, just about to have our son. And so timeline wise, she has him in January of 20. Jesus, I'm sorry. I'm blanking on 2019.
Yeah, but make sure you get that bit right.
Yeah. And anyway, so she has our son, and I don't get sober till March. So there's a 2-month period where I was still drinking really heavy. And, I was looking at myself, not being a good father. I wasn't proud. My dad was an alcoholic. I didn't want to repeat that process. The writing was on the wall. But what I would tell somebody if they wanted to get sober themselves is, you really got to look internally and decide if it's something you want to do for yourself, or is it someone else trying to change you? Because it's probably not going to click then. So you got to figure out what you got to do to make yourself happy, I guess.
So the advice for someone as an onlooker, if you were worried about someone, is to try and help them reflect and think about themselves rather than push it on them.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Did you have like a specific event that made you think this is it and I need to change?
That's so weird because so many people do. I didn't. I had a lot of things that should have been there. I got DUIs, where you get driving under an influence.
Yeah.
So, I spent night in jail. Had the police at my house before. I mean, there's a lot of things where you think, oh, that would probably teach you that lesson, but nothing clicked like that. It was just one day I was actually driving, and I was down visiting family in the state of Arizona. And the night before, we'd all drank, and I got stupid drunk, and just embarrassed myself, I guess, embarrassed my family. All my family was there. It was a big family gathering. And I'm driving to the airport, get on the plane, come home. And something clicked with me. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to. And got on that plane, got home, and I literally haven't drank since.
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy.
So how long
Yeah.
have you been for now?
Well, in March, it'll be 2 years.
Wow.
Congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. I think a lot of the time that you've been talking, you've been bringing up some, excuse me, some difficult times. And I suppose a lot of it is, although it's led to a very positive situation for yourself, it can seem like you're talking about the bad points in someone, or when they did this, when they did that. And I think to focus on the positives is the main thing, because what you've done is like literally awesome. So I think so the congratulations was important there. So just like, well done on that one. Because I think a lot of these, when people are openly talking on podcasts, etc., it shouldn't just be about the past stuff. So that's awesome. What you've managed to achieve anyway.
I mean, it says a lot about your character as well, because, as you were saying, in between your shifts, when you had those 10 hours, you had your breathalyzer and you were looking and you knew how many drinks you could have. It kind of shows that your character, that you were willing to put the work in. It's just now that you've kind of dropped that and you've gave up the drinks for the miles, and you've kind of gave up the breathalyzer for like a pedometer. And it's just like you're kind of still in this rhythm of improving yourself, other than, putting yourself in this place where you can get away with drinking to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I actually love the way you just put that, Scott. It was a nice way of rounding it up. It was very good. So what's next for Will then? So you said you've just done your first marathon. Are you planning on doing any more marathons, or have you got any more running events going on? As you know, everything's okay for you guys over there at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. In August, they have what's called an ultra marathon. So that's anything over the length of a normal marathon, which is 26.2 miles. And we have one in our area called the Lean Horse 100. So you can run anywhere from 20 to 100 miles and different increments in between. And I think I'm going to go for the 50 miler and try to do that 50 mile.
Brutal, 50 miles. Oh,
yeah.
How's your training looking for that then?
I'm running every day, man. I've just been busy getting in the miles, and just, I guess the key to running long distance, from what I'm reading, again, I'm figuring this all out as I go, but
cool.
Running on tired legs, back-to-back days. So I've just been putting in consecutive 8-mile days, day after day after day after day.
And that's building up the accumulation in your body, and then you're having to adapt that. So as long as you're giving yourself ample recovery, and I suppose you're looking into diet and everything. So as long as you're building up your accumulation and then allowing that recovery to take place, that sounds good. Just, hit the road.
Yeah. Well, and I still lift weights too. I always gloss over that, but I lift every day too. So, I just.
Music to my ears.
Yeah. Just the thing where I kind of went different was the running. I always kind of did the weights and the weight training, but now I guess I'm trying to be a like a hybrid athlete. I don't even know if there's a term for what we do, but lift weights and run a lot.
Fit, strong bloke.
Yeah. I mean, if you check out someone like Alex Viada, he's a kind of hybrid athlete. So he does ultra marathons, but he has a 600-pound bench press. So you kind of look at guys like that who are just insane.
You sure it's a bench, not a squat?
Sorry?
You sure it's a bench, not a squat?
Yeah, I mean, we've had it on the quiz in the past, him doing a 600-pound bench.
What?
Yeah, he's a bit of a beast.
What is his name?
Got a company called Hybrid Performance, which is all about ultra running and powerlifting, which is really interesting. So definitely worth checking out.
What was his name, Scott?
Alex Viada.
Will, what do your weight training sessions look like then?
Well, I do a program. There's a gentleman called Nick Bear. He was a former Army Ranger, and he has a program right now that I'm on. And it's actually called Hybrid Athlete Program. That's kind of where I dipped that name out of.
Cool.
But lots of reps, and it just depends on the week. But the idea, I mean, have you guys ever seen him, Nick Bear?
Yeah, I've seen him, yeah.
Yeah, great guy.
Pretty built guy. You know, he just ran a sub 3-hour marathon himself. So he qualified for the Boston Marathon. And I guess I just look at him, you know, trying to lift the weights like he does and then do the running as well. So I follow his program.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take a look into it. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
He's in, I remember it's definitely like I've seen him through Instagram, and yeah, he's in immense shape. So lots of fitness, lots of running, and he's lifting weights. So that's how you build yourself.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried any of the Goggins challenges? So things like the 4 miles every 4 hours or anything like that?
No, you know, I was really wanting to do this last one, and he just did that. What was that, about a week and a half ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I had a sinus infection like crazy, and I run on this app called Strava. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Strava.
Yeah.
If you look, I'm just like kicking butt all year, you know, all through last year, everywhere. Well, then like my first week, you'll see me take off any time was about a week and a half ago. I mean, I couldn't breathe. I mean, I tried going out and running, and it was just like terrible. So it was right during that period. But that's not an excuse. I'll attack it. I'll get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
I just didn't do it with them at that time, but I will do it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, all the endurance stuff you do in the running, it does tend to have more of a hit on your immune system. So no doubt you always see runners with, you know, the sniffles or they've got a cold. So no doubt it's just, you know, really accumulated in your body and you've had the infection. So it's just what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I was worried I had COVID, you know, because like I said, our state is so relaxed on it. And my wife and my child were sick, and they actually got COVID tested and were negative. And so everything was all right. Just got on some antibiotics and we all got better.
Nice one.
Good to hear.
So with your training and everything at the minute, what's your diet looking like? You doing anything specific or following anything?
So that's one area I need to work on. I just eat whatever I want, man. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, when you're running, 8-10 miles, whatever it is, just depends on the day, the block. I don't have any problem burning everything off as of right now. So I try to eat fairly clean. But if we're having pizza, I have pizza, man. I just don't really. Yeah. I mean, I cut out the booze. That's a lot of calories.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know. I kind of have this like free calories I can burn, I guess.
I suppose if it looks balanced and you're getting, your vegetables and you feel like you're getting a balanced sort of balanced macros, then it's going to work pretty well. And with all the running you do, and your performance is going to be better anyway. I think a lot of people just don't know how to become optimal with their diet, and that's the main thing. When people say, "Oh, how's the diet looking?" etc., and people sort of get shocked. "Oh, you're not counting calories." And it's like, well, they're doing well and they know how to eat. And you're probably like South Dakota boy. I imagine you eat pretty well. So it's kind of like, well, he knows what he's doing. He's eating well. He's just not counting his calories. So people shouldn't always freak out, shouldn't they?
No, I think intuitive eating. If you're hungry, probably eat. Don't mistake thirst for hunger. Make sure you're well hydrated all the time. And if you're having snacks, make sure they're healthy snacks. Maybe don't go for the potato chips. I keep protein bars on hand all the time. So
Epic.
feeling a little healthier.
Do you have a go-to cheat meal?
Go-to cheat meal, ice cream. You know, I know not a meal, but I can definitely put a hurting on ice cream.
Did you like a pre-race or post-race thing? Are you like, right, we're getting carved up tonight, what are we having?
Yeah, so spaghetti, you know, as easy as that is, spaghetti meatballs, you know, I like doing that night before. And then about 4 hours before I actually start the race, I'll usually have like a piece of toast and a banana. And something I've just started introducing in the last 6 months is beetroot juice.
Oh, yeah.
That really helps. I mean, I don't know what it does. I'm not.
It's just some chemicals in there that really helps endurance. I think I started looking at that in 2007. So when I was at uni, we're looking at beetroot, the effect of that. There's tons of research coming out. So no doubt it's just heavily researched now in terms of the benefits. So yeah, keep on that.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can actually feel it. You know, it's one of the few things you can consume and you're like, okay, I see a difference there.
Yeah, like when you start looking at your diet, or when you start having like enough creatine, you can really feel those supplements. Whereas a lot of things you kind of go, oh, I'm taking this, but what's even happening? So like you say, if you can feel it, then it's definitely worthwhile.
Yep.
With just talk about racing real quick. When I said about the pre-race, when did you sort of feel? Because you started to obviously get into competitive racing, and you do sort of marathons and stuff. When did that sort of feel like that was something you were really enjoying? Was it like, I'm going to do some fun runs, and then you started the idea for a marathon? How did that look for you?
No, I mean, so I got sober in March, and there was this run in June. It was a half marathon, and something has told me I needed to sign up and do that. And I don't know. I still don't know to this day really what it was about that. But I said, I'm going to do that. You know, I'm going to focus. I'm going to run that thing. And again, at this point in time, I couldn't even run a mile.
Wow.
So it sounded so out of reach, like impossible to me. You know, like I don't have the right genetics. I don't have the right whatever. You know, all these excuses. Everybody wants to make a million excuses for themselves. And I just focused on that. I remember showing up race day. I had blisters the size of quarters on my feet, you know, because I was just pushing myself so hard. And I'd never run over 10 miles at that point. Just all that doubt that race morning, I felt like I don't know what's going to happen today. You know, I've never done more than 10 and I got to go 13.1. And I don't know, man. You
just got it done.
Yeah, it hurt. I remember that.
I bet you were a mess after that.
I got to that finish line and I was a hurting unit. I was not feeling too well.
Well, so you sound like do you prefer the half marathon? Are you someone that's like, right, endurance run for days, or are you sort of more that intense, like middle distance, 800 meters, maybe like a 10K or a half? What's your sort of thing? Are you still figuring that out?
Well, I'm still kind of figuring it out, but what I really enjoy more than anything is trail running. We have, I live in the Black Hills. It's kind of a mountainous area. So we have different peaks and different things that go on. I love running that, the steep grades and the challenge of the rocky environment. And that's where I really enjoy stuff. But as far as competition stuff, I'm still figuring all that out. You know, I've done some 10Ks and you know, of course, a lot of half marathons now. And
right.
Half marathons where I feel I could go do that just on a whim at any time now, which is incredible for me to, I'm proud of myself. I guess I'll pat myself on the back for that because that's something I definitely couldn't have always done.
Epic.
But the marathon thing, I still got to prep quite a bit for.
Yeah, no doubt. Kieran, were you going to jump in there?
Yeah. Have you heard of a running app called Running Stories?
No.
No? I don't know if it's any good because I don't run. I look at everybody else running and I think there's some kind of freedom that comes with running that I'd really like to enjoy. And then I run for about 10 meters and I go, yeah, that's freedom I'm not that bothered with anymore. But there's an app you can get and it's basically it's stories that you have on your headphones and it gives you different scenarios to which you have to run to.
Okay.
So it's a bit corny, but it's like designed to try and get people out there running. So it'll be like you're a spy, for example, and you're being chased, so you have to up the tempo. and then it slows you
It
down.
just shouts zombies at you.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. It's like loads of different stories that you can have that it pumps through your headphones, and you have to run to the story.
Is it like those interactive radio movies they used to have back in the day, like War of the Worlds?
I was literally just thinking that. That's so funny.
I'd imagine so. It's called Running Stories if anyone wants to check it out.
I'll look into that. You know, ironically, though, I've been trying to get away from headphones when I run.
Are you following the Goggins of no distractions so that you have...
He's starting to get in my head.
Is it like, it's almost like harder torture when you don't, I remember seeing, I think it was like I want to say like an Olympian, they said that when they were younger, they ran with the headphones in and they loved their music. And then it come to maybe like a race or something, and they just found it so much more difficult because music definitely has a positive effect on your performance. And they said they used to do all their training without headphones so they could just, get real into the mental toughness and just be gritty with their running.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird. You kind of use it as a crutch. At least I do. I'm speaking totally for myself, but that music stuff really helps you. And I guess what happened to me is I had them die on me, and I was out on a real long run, and it was like 8 miles away from home. So, of course I got to backtrack a minimum of 8 miles to get home, and no headphones. And that sucked. I'm used to having that counter Strava in my head telling me when I hit my half miles, my pace, the music going. And then it was like, okay, I can kind of see why they say without headphones, you're going to build a little bit more mental toughness, because you then. You're listening to yourself breathing hard. It almost feels more real. It's like, yeah, I guess this kind of sucks.
You can hear it. I mean, I don't run, so I think Kieran and Scott are probably going to laugh when I say this, but you can hear, you kind of get like a rhythm with your feet and you're running, so you can just hear that and you're breathing. So I imagine it's, again, tough, but it's like you say, a bit more real.
People use that as kind of like a training method, because when you train for triathlon, obviously they're like, you can't have a headphone in. And they say you use your feet and your breathing to kind of get yourself into a trance, and it's almost like meditation. So you can just go into your head, run, and use that rhythm to kind of get you along. So you can nip out of it later at time, and you're like, oh, a couple of miles has passed since. And supposedly some people prefer it compared to music.
Will, did I see you with a bow on your Instagram?
Yeah, I do archery.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
they wouldn't let us do that in the UK.
Oh, you can't do archery?
Oh, I think we can. It'd be a lot more controlled, and there'd be nowhere fun to do, I don't think.
Oh, that's too bad. It's a blast. You guys definitely got to get bows. It's a good time. There's a guy called Cameron Haynes I'd recommend you check out. He's also a endurance athlete.
Right. Definitely. That's the best thing we've got on here. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, Cam Haynes, he's the man. Him and Goggins just did a run together the other day. I think on either one of their Instagrams, you'll see they're tagged together. But he's a really kind of built guy. I actually met him myself. I went to one of his races he sponsored, and very cool guy.
Nice. How often do you get out to shoot your bow then?
Well, it depends on the time of year. So like fall time is when we have hunting season over here. So I was doing a whole lot then. Now that we're going into spring, it's put up, but I'll get it back out here pretty soon. They have a lot of 3D shoots, which are like foam targets.
Yeah.
They have a lot of those events out in the area. Like they have one where we take a ski lift up to the top of a mountain, and then the whole way down, they set up like 30 different targets, and you just shoot them, simulate different situations. It's a blast. It's like golfing, but fun.
It's like golf without the sadness.
Yeah.
The khaki pants.
The middle-aged man part.
All right, leave golf alone, okay?
So do you bow hunt then, or do you just shoot targets?
Yeah, so I say I bow hunt, but I haven't killed anything with it yet. I tried this last fall, but I didn't have success.
So what sort of things do you hunt?
Just deer is what I was going. Eventually elk. We have a lot of elk in our area, but you got to draw a tag. So you put it in with the state requesting a tag. It costs money, and hopefully you're one of the lucky few that get drawn. It's like a lottery. I did not succeed in that one. And then as far as the deer, I went out a lot of times with a few different friends, and I was with a friend when he took his deer. but myself wasn't able to get one. It's challenging, and we had a real dry year, so it was loud. You know, any sort of stalking or anything you do on foot, all the grass is dry, and it was hard to get close that way. And then, normally we require a lot more snow that helps out. And it was very windy, and wind is your worst enemy. They can smell you.
Wow.
Yeah, because
So it's kind of a poor year for it.
Fair enough.
Because Haynes is a big hunter, isn't he? That's kind of his thing. That's why he does that side of it and the strength side of it. Because he just says that bow hunting is so difficult that you need that endurance to be able to just track, let alone do anything else.
Yeah, I think he calls himself a mountain athlete, and I think that's pretty fair. I mean, the guy runs a marathon a day, a marathon worth of miles, and he literally runs mountainsides. I mean, he's pretty stout guy.
And his gym is insane.
Yeah.
His son's a bit as well, isn't he?
What was that?
His son is a bit of a beast as well. He's very much
true. Yeah, true it. So I was actually running in this 5K race that he sponsored, and I'm dying just getting to the end line, and I see him go by me back the other way, and here we are about a mile later, and he's coming by me again. So I don't know if he like lapped me or what happened, but he's pretty awesome himself.
I think he beat Goggins' pull-up challenge, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I watched that live streamed.
Oof.
Absolutely amazing. Has anybody else got anything they want to ask Will while he's on?
I'm all good.
Silence there.
He's got a Friday to go, and he's got some miles to do. I think he's got a busy day ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're winding down for the weekend. It is currently 5 to 6 over here.
Okay, so evening. Yeah, that's right. 5 p.m. is when I called over. Okay.
So one question we ask all of our guests is, what advice would they give the younger self?
Don't drink.
That's fair.
No, I don't know. I just say don't be such a knucklehead. I don't know, and that's a tough one.
Don't start running. It's too painful.
Yeah. No, just to close out on that running thing, everybody talks about a running high and stuff. That's all bullshit. I've never got that yet. I mean, why don't you do like the real high, and then they try for that running high? It's like you guys have never done real stuff before. So I laugh at that.
Never lived.
I get asked that all the time. You get that runner's high? It's like, I suffer a lot. I mean,
You get runner's low.
Yeah, runner's low. It's all about beating yourself up for 4 or 5 hours.
That's right.
Listen,
Just so you can beat yourself up for 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, that's the goal. By the way, I like that you guys listen to Tenacious D. I like that.
Yes.
I love Tenacious D.
Yeah, I always hear that on the videos and crack up. I mean, that's good stuff.
They're massive in Europe. They still tour all the time. It's like, I need to go quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I see like they did. I think they did recently. It might have been a couple of years ago, so like recent-ish. It was like Germany, Holland, all around there, and I was like, oh man, so close. Could have went and seen them.
Yeah, I think they did a tour when they released their little YouTube TV show. Can't remember what it was called though.
Right.
But yeah, they did a UK European tour, and it was just amazing.
That'd be so good.
And we did put an open invite out to Jack Black, but he's not yet got back in contact with us.
Not yet.
Not yet. I tell you what, I don't know if any of you guys follow his TikTok or any of his videos he's been doing recently, but they are ridiculously funny if you get a chance to watch them.
I'll check him out.
It's just him in like an Iron Man mask with a pair of red pants on, just like flying around and just insane. Just typical Jack Black. Anyway, Will, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to jump on the podcast with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for sharing your story, most importantly. And you should be very proud of everything you've accomplished so far.
Thank you.
Chris, where can we find you?
Mackenzie.strength.
And Scott, where can we find you?
Probably out doing some miles now. On Instagram, Scott Speaking.
And Will, where can we find you on Instagram if anybody wants to follow you?
You know, I actually just started a new Instagram page. It's real corny, so don't laugh at me, guys. But it's called reinventing.the.will. So reinventing the will. Will.
Clever play on words. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you can catch us at www.letstalkaboutit.co.uk. You can catch all the old podcasts as well as some of the old bomb out or PR quizzes. Scott seems to be shaving in the Zoom meeting. So
it's great lighting. It is great lighting. I can't help it.
Okay, he's actually shaving. I thought he was joking. But okay.
No.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys again soon.